Love you too, man. You mean so much to me.
Yeah. Techno wizard.
Techno wizard, barely. I mean,
Whatever.
I try to be, man. I try to be.
You are.
I try to be.
All right, so we're rolling.
But
I think so.
episode 2 of the Good Nighty podcast.
We're rolling already.
Oh yeah, we're rolling. Yeah, finally,
All right.
almost 3 weeks later, we get to do it. Yeah. Oh.
Crazy.
Yeah, I remember that time when we got together and we did a podcast.
Yeah.
I thought it was a
Little
gun.
way back.
Generations ago, man. Generations ago. Oh man, yeah. Sorry about that, guys. If you saw our post about,
Your post.
Your post.
all
yeah.
right,
The
okay.
post Wyatt made on our behalf.
I did not tell him to do that.
Hey, y'all just throwing me under the bus. I thought we were a team, guys. But yeah, I run the Instagram.
And TikTok.
And yeah, okay, all our social medias. Brady just
Keep going. What do you guys say?
and the YouTube and everything else.
And,
Yeah, I run everything. Yeah, if you saw our post about episode tomorrow, that was a hoax because we got in Monday night and technical difficulties everywhere.
Our IT management was
IT, our IT guy's
out of
terrible.
service.
He's absolutely terrible. But yeah, by God's grace, our IT guy got it figured out, and we're here.
We are here.
We're here. Yeah, praise
Yes, we're
God.
here.
We in this.
Yeah, and I just want to throw some shout outs to the support that we got. I know I've heard from people all over the country, which is crazy that we've made it all over the country already.
The country.
The
Now wait a
country,
second.
man.
Yeah.
What's the furthest place you've heard
You
of
meant the
Everson?
county?
No, so
Hey.
I got people. No.
All over the parish.
No. All over Washed
From
Up area.
Caldwell to Raven.
We have made it.
We did it. No. I had some people from Florida reach out to me. Now we're not worldwide famous. Okay, these are just people that I know.
You said country, so I'm just,
Yeah,
I'm
no.
just asking.
So from Florida,
That's
and
basically
then
the world.
we almost made it coast to coast.
Okay.
We got Florida and Arizona. So
Hey,
Arizona.
We
Arizona,
also
yeah.
have someone in Maryland.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just someone that's from here that's up there visiting? or-
No. One of my buddies.
Okay, there it is.
One of my buddies I volunteered with. He's playing baseball up there.
Okay, cool.
He's from Calhoun.
Buddy, he's from.
He went to Neville.
He's from
He went to Neville.
West Washington.
Yeah.
No,
Brady's kinfolk.
he's from really.
No,
Oh,
no. I said I met him
Wait,
volunteering.
I know him then.
You probably
What's his name? What's his
What-
name?
No,
what-
yeah.
What school is he at up there?
I don't know.
Yeah.
He's playing baseball up there at
Cool.
some school.
Can't have many, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I've had a lot of people
Shout out
reach
to Caleb Weeks.
from school,
Yeah.
and it's a lot of people I didn't talk to in years.
Yeah.
And like they've been encouraging a lot, and it was awesome to. I just never thought that would happen.
No.
And just seeing so many
No.
people reach out, and it was a blessing. It
Yeah.
was really motivating to see all that. So thank all y'all.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the
I
Lord
won't
for
name y'all,
sure.
but
Yeah, thank y'all so
I
much.
appreciate it.
It's
Means more than you know.
yeah, it's
Yes.
been such an honor to be able to serve the Lord through this and to have a response like that that's been just astronomical.
Yeah.
So yeah, thank y'all for the support. And if you're not following us on all of our stuff, go ahead and do that.
Hit the like button down
Hit
below.
the
Subscribe.
Oh my gosh.
I hate being
Welcome
that guy.
back, guys.
I hate being that. What's up, guys? Yeah, no. But yeah, I mean, it helps us out tremendously. Just spreading the gospel and spreading the word of Jesus. And that's what we're here to do. I think I can speak for all 4 of us that we're not any higher than anybody else watching this. We are not any more worthy to sit here than anybody else in the world. I know for me, worst sinner I know is myself. And so, it's been such an honor and a blessing to have the praise and support from everybody who's either watched the shorts or watched the whole podcast. I mean, it's been tremendous. So
Absolutely.
from the bottom of our hearts, guys, we thank you so much for it. But yeah, let's get into it, guys.
Hey, so a couple things before we do. So one, shouting out to people or whatever. Reed Johnson, he texted me yesterday. He finally listened to it, and he was kind of part of the motivation for the way we did the first episode.
Yeah, he
You know,
was. Yeah,
that's
shout
what
out Reed.
I texted him back to him and said, yeah, it was all your idea, 'cause-
Really was, yeah.
But because his message to me was, hey, that was a good 90,
Yeah.
And so anyway, so to the name, I know that you had some people asking about kind of why we're the good 90 or whatever, and so I spent a lot of time with you all in baseball, and one of the things I would hear in the dugout from time to time after somebody ran to first, really hard, even if they got out, whatever, they said, hey, good 90, and then I thought about just the idea of pouring our whole selves into this podcast to make it as good as possible.
Yeah.
And then also I thought about the idea of simply like we want to run hard for Christ. Like that's what we want to do with our lives. And I think being around you three for the past year, 2 years, whatever, that's what I've seen you starting to do. And so that's why I'm encouraged to run this race with you guys, right? And I think that's what we would say, like, for everybody, right?
Yeah.
Like, we want to run this race with, everything we've got for Jesus.
Yeah.
And so the hope would be that as people listen to this, that this helps them run harder.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's personally hard 90.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, but it's hard 90. Like, make sure you give a hard 90. But
Yeah.
when you're done, it's like, hey man, that was a
It
good 90,
was
good 90,
okay.
good 90.
Yeah.
That's a good way to put it. I never thought about that.
See,
Never thought
that's
about that.
that's what I was thinking.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Now
'cause-
that you said that, I was like, that's exactly what I would say. Like, a
Yeah.
good 90, dude.
Good 90.
Yeah, I've definitely said good 90 after
Yeah.
he's touched first base.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah, but I guess while he's running, I was like hard 90.
Sure.
Yeah, no, that's
And think
I
about
see
it
it
too,
now, yeah.
like we're supposed to be encouraging each other
yeah.
all along the way.
Yeah.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Cool. So yeah,
Solid.
that's the
There you go.
That's the name for everybody asking.
I
I,
don't-
I had a lot of questions for that.
Don't get another question about it.
Yep. I'm gonna be like, go watch episode 2 of the Good 90 podcast. Yeah. Cool. Well, you want to read our text for us?
I will absolutely do that. We're in Judges chapter 6. This is like our big question this time, because last time we were kind of throwing around the question of why Jesus, and then I think the question sort of today that we want to be able to answer best as possible
Yeah.
is, are we enough? How does God see us? Why do I matter? Why is it important that I understand that, my value, my worth, my significance? Because I think a lot of times people struggle with not being enough, or feeling like we've screwed up too much, or we're not going to be the one to do anything good for God or whatever. And so we've landed on this story. It's one of my favorites. It's about a guy named Gideon. It's in the book of Judges, which is an Old Testament book, if you're not familiar with that. And it's the time of period in Israel. It's like after Moses and the Ten Commandments, like all that stuff is a known thing. But this is before the time of the kings. So if you're current on your Amazon Prime and you're watching House of David,
So good.
this would be before House of David and before King Saul, but it's after Moses. So that's kind of what to think about the time period. And so the nation is organized into tribes, and there's a different judge that comes up that God raises up to govern the people. They're kind of like it'd be like a warrior king priest kind of thing, but there's no crown, there's no taxes, there's no palace, there's no castle, there's none of that stuff. He's just literally the warrior chief judge who's leading the people. And the reason the judges come about, it's not like Judge Judy, or Judge Wapner, or, I don't know, Matlock, or whatever you think about courtrooms or whatever. But this is more like the judge shows up to steer the people back to God. It's like the people have gotten away from God, they're in trouble, and God raises up a leader to bring them back. And so should be kind of a familiar concept. If you've followed Christ for any length of time at all, you've probably had someone at some point in time show up in your life who's maybe steered you back to God and to where, he has called you to be. So that's a little bit of explanation before we just read some Judges here. So this is chapter 6, And we're not even going to read that much. So where are we at? We are Judges 6. I don't even know how much of this do we even want to read. So I'm going to summarize and then jump into it.
Yeah.
There's a massive army called the Midianites. They're oppressing Israel. Their number is greater than can be counted. It feels really daunting. A lot of the Israelites, they're not following God anymore. They've kind of got their feet in all kinds of different places, and they're allowing these false gods to come in and things like that. They're having idols and statues and things like that, items of worship to other gods. They're allowing that into their communities, into their tribes, and this massive army is kind of perched on the edge of their land, and they're coming in there to devour them, basically. And so this is verse 7. When the Israelites cried to the Lord because of Midian, that's the nation, he sent them a prophet who said, "This is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. I snatched you from the power of Egypt and from the hand of all your oppressors. I drove them from before you and gave you their land. And I said to you, I am the Lord your God. Do not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But you have not listened to me." So this prophet stands up and says, basically, hey, you've gotten away from who I am. You've gotten away from the Lord. And then the angel of the Lord came and sat down under the oak at Ophrah, it's just a hard thing for me to say, Ophrah, if you want to know why it's hard to say. Anyway, and that belonged to Joash the Abiezrite, where his son Gideon's our hero of our story here, Gideon was threshing wheat in a winepress to keep it from the Midianites. He was out doing his chores, so the Midianites couldn't get to their wheat. And when the angel of the Lord appeared to Gideon, and he said, "The Lord is with you, mighty warrior." "But, sir," Gideon replied, "if the Lord is with us, why has all this happened to us? Where are all his wonders that our fathers told us about when they said, 'Did not the Lord bring us up out of Egypt?' But now the Lord has abandoned us and put us into the hand of Midian." Then the Lord turned to him and said, "Go in the strength you have and save Israel out of Midian's hand. Am I not sending you?" "But Lord," Gideon asked, "how can I save Israel? My clan is the weakest in Manasseh," that's his tribe, "and I am the least in my family, as in I am the youngest." And the Lord answered, "I will be with you, and you will strike down all the Midianites together." So there you go.
Amen.
Story time over. So. Awesome. But yeah, so thoughts about Gideon and his conversation with God.
Completely agree with it. That's exactly how it would have went for me.
Yeah. Me? No, I can't do
Like,
this.
what are
Yeah.
you talking about?
Yeah, I am not going out there.
I'm
to...
5'9", Lord.
Yeah, that's funny.
$145.
All right, come on now.
Yeah.
Me? Really? Come on.
Yeah. Okay, so I mean, this is maybe a good way to start the discussion, but when have you felt like that? Like, when has there been a time at any point in your life, and maybe it was before you were really running a hard 90, for Christ, but when has there been a time when you felt like, yeah, nah, can't be me?
Yeah, I think right when you start running the hard race, like when you, maybe baseball terminology, you're getting out the box.
Yeah.
As soon as you make the hit, and as soon as you decide, hey, I'm gonna actually run this thing.
You mean instead of the hit, you mean when the catcher drops the third strike?
Yes, exactly. Yes, exactly. And I'm
In
looking,
Wyatt.
I'm looking back. I'm like, oh, drop third strike. I gotta go. Yeah, no, but when I decided to run, fully a hard 90, a good 90 towards Jesus, I think, as soon as I was to run it, it's like all these thoughts come as, oh, you're not good enough. Why are you wasting your time almost of running this thing, because God's not going to accept you. I think about this all the time. It's like, I wonder what people in high school think about me now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like they saw me at my worst, man.
Yeah.
Like, I was a terrible person in high school.
Yeah.
Man. Like, they saw me, I was just terrible, and like, but now I I'm running this race as hard as I can. Yeah, but when I first started running, it was like, oh, you had all this. Your past is going to define you. You know, you can't redeem yourself out of that, and you don't redeem yourself. You know, Jesus has redeemed you on the cross.
Yeah.
You know, but I think that's when, to me, that's applied to my life. Is when I'm doing that. Yeah,
I think the biggest thing is the same way with you.
Yeah.
Like at church, they're calling, like, if you feel like baptism Sunday, it's happening.
Yeah.
And it's like something was like pulling me, like, dude, get up and go do it.
Mm-hmm.
And like I knew I wanted to give my life to Christ. I wanted to, and I knew like what I was doing at the time in 2021, whenever, I think 2022. I was like, this is not right. Like I'm a horrible person. I'm doing all these things, and I'm like, that thought of, if I stand up and do this and give my Instagram post that I've given my life to Christ, you know, really announcing
Get the T-shirt.
yeah. And I'm like, what are they gonna think? Like they've seen me at parties. They've seen me do these things, and don't be a hypocrite. That's what that was in my mind. You're gonna be a hypocrite.
Yeah.
I'm like, you're right. I would be.
Yeah, I mean, the first step is always the hardest.
Exactly.
That was the big Baptist thing back in the day when I got saved. They were like, the first step is the hardest. You know, sometimes you need somebody to help you make the first step.
Yeah.
And so they'd be like, man, if you see somebody struggling, grab their hand and bring them up there.
Drag them up here.
If they even look like they want to come up here.
It's just like, how do you
Against
even,
their will.
how do you even know that guy? You know, like just the craziest stuff.
That dude needs the Lord.
Yeah.
You're like,
Yeah.
if you know, but yeah, I mean, I've definitely felt that, you know, where, man, it's like, I know what I'm doing is wrong, but I'm too far gone. You know why? But I feel the urge. I feel the spirit be like, hey, something's better. There's better there's better things out here for you.
Yeah.
You know, in your life. But yeah, I absolutely agree with you. Like, oh, you can be a hypocrite. Yeah,
That was the biggest thing
absolutely.
for me.
I'm a hypocrite.
I'm like, I am, but I can't just sit here and just keep digging my grave.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I might be a hypocrite, but you know, I can't make the change by myself.
No. Mm-mm.
And I know for 100% fact that the Lord isn't telling you to do that. He's not telling you to make the change. He just makes the decision.
Yeah.
What did I say? You make the choice, he'll make the change.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah, that
yeah.
one time. That is putting up in my head again.
That one time.
Well, so I was thinking about what you were saying, Wyatt, like when you first started running. So if you go with the being in the box and stuff analogy, and like you taking off out of there, like, and you said, yeah, you just said it. You said something like, well, I'd done all these things or whatever, you know, it can't be me. And so isn't that funny? Like, if you're going to try to run and then, oh yeah, I got to bring all this crap with me, you know, like it's going to, like if you've ever won like I remember when Reed was like, we were trying to be like, we were going to be Johnny Manziel, you know, Johnny Football, you know.
At Arkansas?
Yeah. He was going to be the next.
Dream big.
He's gonna take over the program.
Yeah, and so one of the things y'all have ran like with, you know, maybe a weighted vest or something like that before. One of the things that we did, we bought him the thing where it's a harness, but it was like you're running with like the parachute, or whatever, you know. And so that's exactly what you're talking about. Like, I mean, I can't go. You know, I got all this stuff. You know, it's hitched up behind me. This trailer full of baggage and bull crap that I've led in my life, and all these mistakes, and that's the first thing you got to do, really. Is you got to cut that loose. You know,
That's what Paul says in Hebrews, like strip off every weight that slows us down. Every sin that so easily entangles
the
us.
sin that so easily
Yeah,
entangles.
I think about the word like repent too. Like if you were to actually, somebody can fact check me with this. This is like off the dome. I'm trying to remember this, but it means to just turn away completely. You know, it's like, hey, I'm looking at you, like I'm looking completely, you know, 180 behind me, and I'm walking that way. And it never says to, oh well, you're walking this way, now you have to like drag that guy that you're walking with and you're walking towards, you know, with you the opposite direction. No, it just says to turn around and go that direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you do have to cut loose of your past, right? You don't have to be clean for God, but if you want to try to carry all that crap with you, you're not going to go very fast.
No.
You're not going to go very far before you break down.
Yeah.
You know, like you just I don't know, man. I just think of examples of people like walking on a hike or whatever, and you just realize, man, this pack is too freaking heavy. I gotta shed some of this stuff. You know, we went hiking back in the fall, a little section of the Appalachian Trail, and one of the things we learned after our massive 26-mile hike, 3 days, whatever, is that next time we go, we got to cut weight. You know,
Yeah.
not just this weight, but we got to cut this pack, man. We've got to cut it.
Yeah.
You know, so
Absolutely. Like what we read in Acts the other day, they brought all their witchcraft books and
Oh yeah,
they cut it off.
Yeah.
Right there.
they burnt
burned
those.
it.
They burnt those
Burned
Harry Potter
publicly.
books. You know, right there.
Publicly. Nothing against Harry Potter. Are you a fan?
I've never watched or read Harry Potter
I have
in
nothing
my
against
life.
it. I haven't either, but I'm sure.
in my life.
I like Star Wars, so I'm sure
I
I'll
do.
like it.
That's
Yeah,
crazy.
I'm a Star Wars guy.
That's crazy.
I find it hard to believe that
Yeah.
y'all never
I
watched
mean,
any
I've
of them.
read-
No,
I've
never.
seen parts.
I've read all the books and I've watched all the movies.
You read?
Yeah,
And I've got my own special wand.
that's right. I have
my
my wand's at my house. It's in my backpack. y'all better be careful. But
I have the lightning bolt out there.
and,
What is the core of your wand made of?
no,
Don't answer it. Don't answer
regular wood? I guess. I don't know.
Okay, good. You don't know what I'm talking about.
Cypress.
There we go.
Southern
Aren't you
pine.
like? Don't they have like schools in that too? Like what school are you a part of? Or what
Oh yeah.
tribe or whatever?
Yeah. Don't act like you don't know.
I have no
Yeah,
idea.
for real,
I have
for
absolutely
real.
no idea. I couldn't even tell you.
This
their
is too
names.
hard to believe.
I couldn't tell you their
You look like
names.
a Hufflepuff.
See.
I have absolutely no idea. Man, that's funny.
But like coming out the box, like Wyatt, you were talking about earlier. I know that going into college that summer, I was just on fire for Jesus, and I know that my job now is to spread the gospel and really get my feet planted, and then school starts, and then there's pledgeship, there's all these new people, and it's like, oh, I can't carry, like I cannot preach and go out and drink and do this at the same time. Like you were just saying, that pack was too heavy. And so it was just, I gave up like that. And I was just I had just hit like a double
Yeah, off the wall.
off
right.
the
Yeah,
wall.
Yeah.
And I barely even made it to first.
Yeah.
If I even made it to first.
Yeah. Yeah. He threw you
Sniper,
out.
Yeah.
sniper.
Threw you
I
out
mean,
from
like-
deep center.
Yeah. Just,
The host piece came out.
Yeah.
Center field.
Yeah. No, I
Oh,
feel
man.
that though. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
No, that's definitely applicable for sure.
and it was just the lies of like, oh my gosh, like you cannot do that.
Mm-hmm.
Like you cannot bring the gospel into a place like that. And what's hindsight 2020 now, this past summer and this past summer changed my life, absolutely. But the same lies I was hearing the same lies this summer.
Mhm.
Like there's no way you're going to bring this back
Yeah.
and do it again this year.
Yeah.
But I worked a little harder. I shed that pack. I
Shed some weight.
I shed some weight,
Yeah.
and next thing you know, we're doing a podcast.
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
Well, I think we should get into some major parts of this.
Yeah.
Of this. So I think the first one of that whole story was greetings, mighty warrior.
Mm.
And I think that's what really hit you
Yeah.
major. And it's crazy because that's exactly what Gideon is just for me is an image of where we were at. And when the Lord first comes to you and he's like, greetings, son, daughter. I mean, straightforward. And you're like,
Yeah.
son, like I don't even know you.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I've spit in your face
Yeah.
all the days of my life.
Yeah, you're
There's
still
no
gonna
way
call
I'm
me
your son.
Yeah, you're still gonna call me son.
And man, like you were saying that he calls you, he knows who you are before you even have a clue.
Yeah, I mean, he knew you
Yeah.
in your mother's womb.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think you could have a whole hour podcast on that by itself.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't the only one either. Like, I remember when I was truly, when I started running out the box and I actually got into this, I realized so much that there are people in the Bible who are literally just like me, that have been like I'm nothing, and then they turn to something. I got some like notes here, like Moses, Gideon, obviously, Jeremiah, Isaiah, Peter, Paul, and then the prodigal son's also a good one as well. It's just like, man, these people were like the worst of the worst.
Yeah.
When it came to, following Jesus, like they should have been in the waterless dungeon way before they were even given the opportunity to follow Christ, and that is us. That is us. That is the listener as well. That is the people. That's the people watching. That is you, sinner. But yeah, like it's this redemption story of how Jesus takes literally the lowest of the lows, and turns them into kings, and turns them into people that are righteous and worthy to follow Him. And it's just, we are mighty warriors. We are, but it takes Him to see that.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, and if you don't believe that, right? Like I always, if you think about, you remember Pirates of the Caribbean, Jack Sparrow, and he's in jail in that first movie, and they're talking about the Black Pearl, and
I love those movies.
The guys in the cell next to him, and they leave no survivors, and Jack Sparrow's like, no survivors, huh? I wonder where all the stories come from then, And when I think about like what you just said about the underdog, and the lowest of the lows, and God taking the least likely sometimes, and why that's such a good story and why we identify with it so much is because it's so true.
It is.
And I'm like, if you don't think God can take your life from wherever you are now and move you over here, like, and grow you up, then where do all the stories come from? Why? It is true. Like, why do you think that? It's because it happens. It constantly happens. God's constantly doing that. That's who He is as the true ultimate redeemer. He can take whatever is lost and broken and do something. Take whoever is the least youngest in their clan, the least likely to lead a battle, and go, no, I see you as a mighty warrior. I see you way better than you see yourself, right? And so I would say that that's probably true for, like, you guys would nod your head about that for sure, right?
Yeah.
God saw you way better than you saw yourself.
Yeah, I feel like that is such a tactic of the enemy to make you think that, I'm the only person feeling like this, or I'm the first person to this. I'm weak. I'm nothing. I'm horrible. I'm a wicked sinner, and just to speak of who you are, like what you're going through is nothing's new under the sun. Nothing new, and God knows who you are. He knows exactly what you can do for His kingdom, and He wants you to just reach into that potential, just to open the door for Him.
Yeah. All right, sorry about that, guys. We had
Camera cut off.
Yeah, our IT guy is just absolutely terrible. Yeah, our camera cut off. I think our cord or something is, I don't know, man.
Yeah,
I don't know,
whatever.
man. But yeah, back to what we were saying. Yeah, cool.
Cool.
All right,
Awesome.
what were we saying?
Cool.
Hopefully-
We just got done talking about how God knows who you are before you even have any idea. Like, He sees your potential, and don't think that you are worthless and you cannot be used for anything to glorify Him or for the kingdom of God. And I mean, everybody in the Bible, I think that whole 66 books, right?
Yeah.
Is a story of just that these people recognize that they are sinners, and they don't bring anything good, honestly, but God uses that. And in the house of David, like, Samuel's like, we have a funny God. He chose
We
David,
really do.
a bastard.
Yeah,
from-
yeah.
I don't.
Shepherd boy.
Yeah, is
you
his
know.
mom ever mentioned in?
Nah, they made that part up.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. Well, yeah, and Samuel was just laughing like, man, I was expecting a mighty warrior, and I got a humble shepherd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. What Scripture does say about that, just to verify some House of David stuff, like David is like it seems like he's the forgotten of all the brothers. Like when the dad rounds up all of his sons, he doesn't bother to ask David. And then Samuel's like, "You got any other boys?" He's like, "Well, we got one out tending the sheep."
Shit,
yeah.
There's another one.
I guess you can count him as a son.
Yeah.
So yeah, and he was the youngest, similar to Gideon.
Yeah.
It's funny you bring that up. It's the same story there, like this lowest guy, which is another guy on the list. And so, like, just think about it. Like if you're out there and you're living in, Commons or Madison or somewhere,
Mad Block, man.
Mad Block.
Hey, Mad Block. Shout out Mad Block residents, bro. I'm a product of Mad Block.
There you go. And you're waking up, and you're just like, man, my life sucks. I'm here at the door. I mean, that God's not going to do anything with me. He does want to.
Yeah.
And he's that's actually what he created you for.
Exactly.
Yeah.
He didn't create you just to live in Madison. He created you for something bigger.
Yeah,
than
just
that.
to go to school. Yeah.
Just to get a degree.
When I was reading and studying this text, I just, they make a cry out to the Lord.
Right.
Right. They're crying out because the Midianites have them like under oppression. They're literally stealing all their food.
Mm-hmm.
Like it is just terrible. I think about the times that I have cried out to God. Like this is so funny that I think of this, but like when people I say people, I'm in this category, but like when you're like you've been really drunk and your head's just spinning.
Yeah.
And you're like, God, please,
I will never drink again.
I'll never drink again. Like I need you to stop this right now.
Yeah, and it's
Like,
not even a funny thing. It's just
No,
like,
it's
why
like-
why am I here, man?
Yeah,
Like,
no.
this is horrible.
Well, that's the thing. It's like
Yeah.
in the moment you're like, why did I do this?
Yeah.
Why did I do this? Why did I do this? But it's, I said like when you crying out to God to stop your head from spinning, and then you go and get drunk again. Right?
Well, okay.
know?
That's what these
and
Israelites,
that's-
they're calling out to the Lord. Like, these
Yes.
aren't perfect people.
No,
Like, they
no.
have turned their back on the Lord,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
then they made it to the end of that road,
Yes.
that crossroad, the wrong road.
Mhm.
And they're like, man, Lord, I need you to help me now.
Yeah.
Because this sucks. What I've been doing and what I've done sucks.
Yeah.
You're the only way now. Like,
Yeah, and they realize that, and so it's like they're like, okay, I choose God now.
Yeah.
and then that's when he starts to come in. Yeah,
But even deeper than that, and we'll get into this in a minute. They're saying all that stuff, and they're screaming out to God with all their heart and might, because that, just like what you're saying, I'll never do this again or whatever, all the while they've got these idols of false gods right in their backyards. I know we're going to get into that later. So yeah, when you begin to think that you can't connect to the Bible, to Scripture, this story is written for us.
Yeah.
We are them. These are the people. We are they. That's how it is. It's all connected, right? Because we do the same thing. We cry out to God. We scream out to God while we've still got all this other crap going on. And we're just begging for the moment. But yeah,
it's like you don't get clean before you get into the shower type of thing.
I think that's like the order of when we encounter God, or when we are at our rock bottom, and that's how I met God. I took my way as long as I could, and then I'm like, well, God, you're the only way that's going to get me out of this. Only way. And that's how Gideon, he comes and meets him. He's like, greetings, mighty warrior. And Gideon is like, what? And he's like, God, I'm the weakest I'm the weakest clan in Manasseh, and I'm the last person in my family, the last to get anything. I'm the forgotten son. And there's no way I can do this. I can go save Israel. There's no way I can walk this walk of Christ that I see on Instagram or TikTok going out and preaching that. I can't do that. I was just drunk 3 hours ago. Like, there's no way. And he's like, no, go in the strength you have. I'm sending you, and I will be with you. And I think God knows who he's calling.
Oh yeah,
He knows. He's not. You don't got to tell God my resume. Oh, let me tell you about I suck. No, he knows. He knows what he's calling.
yeah. I think
And,
your resume of suck.
yeah, here, let me show you. And I that took me to Hebrews 11, and Paul talks about Gideon actually, and all these people that their faith, and through that they brought armies to war, and in their weakness they were made strong. And it says what in 2 Corinthians that I think I have it. My grace is sufficient for you, and my power is made perfect in weakness.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to bring anything but your faith, and just step out into that to that unknown, and God is going to fulfill what He wants to through you.
Yeah.
I make weak things strong.
Yeah,
that's
absolutely.
That's one of God's things. You know,
Mhm.
that's on his resume.
Yeah, and then Paul even talks about it's like your mindset changes. He's like, I take delight in my weaknesses now.
Yeah.
Like I will boast because He is made strong through my weaknesses. And when he talks about the thorn in His side, it's like, no, I boast in my weaknesses because in that, the power of Jesus Christ, He is made strong in my weaknesses. And that's, I mean, I haven't gotten to that yet, but it's crazy that you can shift that. Like, man, I love that I'm weak because it shows that it wasn't by my power. It was only by Jesus Christ and what He's done for me and His strength through me. And I think that's beautiful. When he talks about that in Judges later on about making it known that only I, the God, had done this, not by your strength, but mine.
Was that the motto of West Washita football?
What?
I know that I'm weak.
Absolutely. until you played us in baseball. Yeah. Hey, we did pretty good this year. Spears up.
I think about I think about the 12 disciples. Think about really anybody called by God to be this leader or this like devout follower of Christ. They make every single excuse in the book, everyone, and God literally cuts it all away. Like, he takes it all away. So like me, I think that every single excuse that you're too bad for God or anything along those lines is just out the window. Like that is not God telling you that you are not enough, because God tells you you're enough. Right? Like I think about this, like if you have a lot of sin or like if you don't think you're enough, like congratulations, you would make a great follower of Jesus. Like you would be like one.
The job is yours.
You would be the top 10, man. Like you are. Look at every single disciple, every single person called by God. They are the lowest of the lows. They are like, look at Paul. Dude was killing Christians.
Yeah.
Have you ever killed a Christian? Well, I mean, we could get into that. I mean, with Matthew 5, all right?
Whoa.
But you as a sinner does not make that excuse is out the window. God wants to use you. God can use you, and He will use you. You just have to turn to Him in faith. Like you were saying, that's all He wants.
And like you were saying, like saying I'm not enough. It's like, congratulations. That's step one of Christianity. Because you're not. That's the whole point.
It is, yes.
You got it, man. You hit it on the head. You are not enough.
Yeah.
I feel like the I'm not enough. I don't want to word this wrongly and make me sound like a turd, but I feel like the I am not enough is an excuse that people use to keep living in sin all the time. It's like, oh my gosh, like I'm in college, like I'll save that God stuff for later.
Sure.
Let me live in all this sin that I commit every day. Like, yeah, we're all sinners. Yeah, we're all not enough. But that's the reason to turn now.
Yeah.
Not to wait until later when you're like, oh, I'm old and I should probably get right with the Lord.
But that's so freeing, though, to know that you aren't.
I know.
Like, there's nothing you can do. That's what grace is. It is a favor, a gift of forgiveness that you cannot earn or pay back. And it's like, that's freeing to know, like, I'm not enough. That's the exact reason Jesus did exactly what He did. It's because we aren't. And it's only by Him and what He did on the cross is that we are made righteous. And I mean, He counts Abraham and all these crazy that we almost idolize in ways that they weren't enough, but they were counted righteous by their faith. And just saying, you know what, it's only by You, Lord. It's only by You. And that's why they were set apart. That's the only reason.
I think like when you just said like I'm gonna wait till later to get right with God, like, man, think about this. The God that gives you the breath in your lungs, he allows you to wake up every single day and to live this life on this earth. If you think He doesn't want to use you, He could kill you in an instant. If He didn't want to, you wouldn't be here. Okay? Like, you would not be here. He would, He'd have nothing to do with you. You'd be an outcast. Like, why would God give you breath in your lungs, for if He didn't want to use you? right? Just think about that. Like in an instant, he could take you away, and like that's that's scary, but that's also like, man, the God of the universe wants to use me. He's allowed me to live this life and to have breath in my lungs to go out and serve him. Like that is, man, let's do it. I'm ready. Let's go. But like that like you're saying that's so freeing to know that man, we're not enough.
It's almost like it was our prison. Like, I'm not enough. I'm just gonna stay here and keep going out and doing all this stuff. But then it turns into, man, that's a freedom that I'm not enough. It's just like you're just the mindset of the little switch.
Yeah.
The little switch.
I was talking to somebody earlier this morning, and like the paths that we take, and this is crazy, like even like in Matthew like 4 with the temptation of Jesus, like when Satan offers Christ temptation, right, it's not that different than like even a couple of times the devil even says it. He's like, well, it is written. He throws the scripture at Jesus, and then Jesus throws one back at him. It's like this subtle difference, right, between what the right path and the wrong path, between who you think you are and between who God thinks you are. It's even at the very beginning, it's just a slight difference. But then by the end of it, it's the whole world. It means so much more, if you just see it. It's all about perspective in this stuff. And that's why as you get older, and you guys see this a lot, I've seen this a lot over years, talking to a freshman is a lot different than talking to a junior. And it's just 2 years, man. Just 2 years. I mean, give the example, talking to freshman Wyatt and talking to junior Wyatt, totally different,
Day and
I
night.
can kind of remember you as a freshman a little bit, but yeah, huge, difference, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another layer to this whole thing with Gideon in this very beginning part. Like when God shows up and calls him mighty warrior, because some people out there might be like, well, I'm not going out and just like blasting my life away or anything like that, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm getting it done, right? Well, Gideon's doing the chores. Like he's hiding the wheat from the Midianites. He's doing what he's been told to do. He's doing what he can, what he knows how. And God says, "Hey, look, I see you bigger than that. Like I know you're doing some good stuff, but it's bigger than that, And so there's that idea too of like, in my own willpower, and I may be doing some of the right things, God still sees it as bigger. Like he sees me for more than what I'm doing. Like we don't stop where we are and just think, well, I didn't kill nobody, I'm not a bad person, and I don't really even go out anymore, Well, okay, that's good. It's good you made that choice. But I would still say that God has something bigger for you than what you're doing right now. Wherever you are, he wants to take you even further.
Yeah, like stagnant faith will sink you.
Yeah.
Yeah, keep.
He could have stayed in the backyard, cranking out the wheat, hiding it in the press. He could have kept doing that. And yeah, he might have saved a few people that way,
Yeah.
We can hold out a little longer from the
Yeah.
Midianites, but eventually they're going to mow them down. And God wanted to redeem everybody. God wanted to move the whole nation back to him, not just a few people in Gideon's lowest tribe in Israel, kind of situation, So God sees it, even our good, he sees it as how it could be so much greater.
Like the impact you can have is like it is. You may not even know, all of you watching, all of us. You have no clue what God can do through you. Like the impact you can have, not just on your family and yourself, and your life gets a little like easier and like it comes a little better, but what he can do for others, other broken people out there that you're surrounded with, like you can change people's lives through Christ in you. Like he can use you for immense things, and it's just trusting him.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
first step.
You might think you're just talking into a can here, but
Yeah, I mean,
it's worldwide.
honestly,
Yeah.
that first episode, I was like, I'm talking to a couple frat guys that are gonna listen in.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, and by the grace of God, a lot of people have been kind of listening, and
Yeah.
I would have never. I mean,
No.
I put God in a box every day, and it's just
Man, it's
insane.
like just with my own life, over the past 6 months, I got done with summer camp. Never thought I would do ministry again. Like, yep, let's do what I want to do and go get an internship in computer science. Boy, was I wrong. Right now, I'm going to do student ministry. Me, I would have never thought that. But
Yeah.
like you're saying, man, like God can use you. You just have to be willing to trust that and have faith in that, man. It's just
Yeah.
like He will, a little bit of faith will move a mountain.
Yeah,
you
he's
know?
he's this great like underdog champion, right?
Yeah.
But he's also the great multiplier. You know, fish and loaves, man, and whatever. I mean, God can do way more than we can. What is it? More than we can think or imagine or whatever. The scripture. I can't put it
He
all
do-
right.
Yeah,
Far more, and so I always think about the line. Well, I can do more with less or whatever. Like
Yeah.
it's like
Yeah.
that. So
Yeah. An example, this summer, I'm at Noah's Ark and I'm guiding and doing all this, and I was assigned to it's a base camp group.
did it stink in there
Oh yeah.
in Noah's Ark?
Noah's
You threw me off.
Noah's Ark's in the United
Alright.
States.
Yeah. But long story short, whitewater rafting guide, best summer ever. So blessed, and it changed my life.
Yeah.
The culture, the faith, community, the most incredible thing ever. And that whole summer, I didn't feel like I belonged there
Yeah.
because, like, who the heck am I? What am I doing with all of these amazing people? And just in one instance, it hit me like a train. Like God uses us in ways we cannot understand, even when we feel as if we are not enough. I get assigned to this group from Lubbock, Texas, that's up there going with us, and one of the kids there is a sophomore in high school, played baseball, played football, just like me, and he's asking me like actively about my faith,
Yeah.
and I'm being honest with him, and I'm telling him this, telling him that, and I even told the kid, like, look, man, I don't think I belong here. Like this doesn't feel like me. This doesn't feel like I should be here because I'm not worthy to be here. And long story short, the next day, kid gives his life to Christ, and he's like, I just want to let you know that you've helped me in more ways that you could ever
Yeah.
imagine. And it hit me just like, dude, Lord, I don't know what you're doing, but keep doing it.
Yeah.
Like, I'm all right. I get it. Like, I'm here.
Yeah.
Just use me however you want to use me.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of preachers and big names, it may seem like they got it all going, but on the inside, like, none of us feel worthy to be doing any of this.
No.
Like, we know ourselves and what we think
No.
about and all the what we do that just isn't right.
Yeah.
And we don't feel worthy. I don't feel worthy. And like you were saying, man, don't count yourself out. Like, don't let the lies in your mind control like your path that you're gonna take. Like, yep, I really am not enough. None of us are. And like, don't stop. Don't counteract what God can do for you. Don't count yourself out before you even start. And I think that's what, I mean, it almost got me. I would have never done it, but I was like, man, I got to. Screw it. I'm getting up. And
Screw it.
yeah.
I want that T-shirt.
Yeah. I want it. Size large. Should have got a medium.
Should have got to made the arms look a little bigger.
Yeah. Whatever.
Size
But no, yeah, like, man, you can do your potential. It's far more than you can ever imagine. Don't sit in the grave that you're in. Just let God do what He wants to do with your life. It's just a decision. You don't have to do anything crazy to clean up for them, or I got to stop going to the bar before I can follow Christ. No, you don't have to.
It's going to take, and like, it's not, that was a big thing for me when I started following. I was like, okay, God, I'm here.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I changed my life.
Yeah, I'm gonna quit drinking. I'm quit doing this. I'm gonna quit thinking about girls. I'm
Man,
tomorrow, right? We're not. I'll get baptized. I'm
God,
gonna
it'll be
quit.
like you're
Tomorrow.
supposed to.
I want to be great.
You're supposed to like do all this, right? Well, it's not going to happen overnight.
No.
It will not happen overnight, but it's the, I've read this book. I haven't read the whole thing, but I try to stay diligent to read it every day. And I haven't read like one thing that's like just completely changed my life in one sitting. But over time, reading this book and staying diligent and having faith throughout, my journey, it's changed my life. And I think that don't limit yourself to where you think, oh, all these lies in my head, everything like that. Man, just keep going. It's not gonna be easy, but let me tell you right now, it is so worth it.
It's worth it.
It's so worth it, man.
I mean, that's one of the hardest things is going from that life to where we're at now. Like you may think like, hey, he thinks his life just was right when he got baptized. It was awesome. No, like you are literally shedding off that weight. Like you are attempting to pick up your cross. Sometimes you can't even pick it up, but then some days you can get it on that shoulder, and then some days you can strip off a weight, and some days some weight's added on you. I mean, you will never feel more sinful than at the time you turn to Christ. Like it shines a light on everything that in your life that you were blinded to that you're doing. And I remember I felt worse when I turned to Christ than when before.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. Not trying to scare you away from it, but it's needs to happen though.
It does need to happen.
It needs to happen.
The pruning needs to happen.
Exactly.
You need to realize that, hey, I am a sinner. I have fallen short of the glory of God. And I need help.
Yeah.
Hey, God, here's a white flag. I'm ready. But then, man, it's like, okay, I'm ready for you to change my life. But then it's like, changing lives hurts that. It hurts to be pruned. It hurts to be cut and stripped away from things that you're used to. You're used to living in this, and change is difficult. But man, change is necessary to follow Christ. And don't let the fact that you think that you are a sinner gone through the wind, like you just are so far gone. Like, man, pick up this book and read the fact that every single person called by Christ was way too far
It's
gone.
not God shaming
No.
you. That is not him.
No,
like,
it's
man,
God changing you.
Yeah, he's changing you.
He's changing
And
you.
even what Paul writes, like, let's not hate the discipline. For the love, it's a father that loves you is he disciplines his son or shows him the right way. He's
Yeah.
not telling you, oh, you're a piece of crap, all this, you need to change. No, he's just showing you that, man, what you're doing is leading to the grave.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to show you the way a prosperous life that you can have through me, and the relationship we can have. It may not look as fun as going to the club and doing all this stuff, but I promise you that you're not going to end up in a grave that you dug yourself. That I'm bringing you to levels that you could have never, like Gideon, you could have never imagined leading Israel against a numerous army, the weakest guy in his family. And I mean, it's not shame that from God when you're turning. It's just him showing you that there's something better out there.
And that's kind of that point of when you get to that point and you
Yeah.
realize that, like, then you're at that point where he says, "Go in the strength you have, because I'm sending you." Because you're like, "Well, I ain't got nothing. This is me. What do you want me to do?" And God's like, "No, just go with what I've got you, and go this far, and then we'll go this far, and then we'll go." We've used that Petey from Remember the Titans example a ton of times when we've talked about this. I'm not even going to bore the listener, but but yeah, it's like go, just a little bit farther, and it's a Hacksaw Ridge. Y'all saw that movie,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Awesome.
'Cause
Just one more guy.
Yeah, the cool Spider-Man, right? He's like, just give me one more, God. Just let me rescue one more guy, So it's like, give me enough to take one more step.
Yeah.
Thy word's a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. When you're in the woods at night, just give me enough light to take the next step.
Yeah.
And then take the next step
Just
after that.
The strength not do this one more time.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
go to sleep one more time, not beaten up by these anxious thoughts.
Mm.
Give me the strength to not go out one more time.
Yeah.
Just one more time, Lord. And then eventually it just, your mind molds to following that and being able to have that, what is it? Perseverance through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just said something about light. I mean, he says that he's a lamp unto your feet, a light unto your path. A lamp unto your feet. Okay, you're only seeing your next step.
Your next step, yeah.
You're not. It's not a like, boom,
Right.
all the lights there. I see my future.
Yeah.
When I was in my pruning season, I would have never told you I would be going into student ministry at a crazy church.
Yeah.
Off in a faraway land I've never been to in Florida. Like Jacksonville, Florida. Like what am I doing in Jacksonville,
The land
Florida?
of giants.
Like absolutely crazy.
And Tim Tebow.
And Tim Tebow and the Florida Gators. But yeah, like it's, God help me light up a little bit more of my path. Help me see a little bit more. Help me, give me the strength to realize my sin, realize things that I'm doing that stray me away from you. And man, over time, like I was saying earlier, man, like it will change your life.
Yeah.
It will change your life, but you have, like, man, you're enough. That I can't say it enough. Like, you are enough. Take it from 4 guys who thought that they weren't enough.
Yeah.
At like the lowest of the lows, and then now we're on a podcast. And that's not to say like, oh, we're holier than thou. No. Not at all, man. Like we suck.
It's like the mindset of like, I'm not enough, but that is enough.
That is
Yeah,
enough.
it's like a
Yeah, if
Yeah,
you're
it'll
a
make
great
sense.
sinner, congrats. You'll make a great disciple.
Yeah,
But yeah,
exactly.
cool.
Yeah,
Cool.
Well, let's
I think that's
probably
5 minutes for sure.
yeah.
Yeah, I got class in 8 minutes.
All right.
Well, there we go. You are a student. You should take care of that.
Well,
That's
yeah.
good.
All right.
That's good.
Well, appreciate you guys listening.
Yes.
For real.
If you enjoyed this or you like this, man, share it with somebody you know. Share it with Instagram, whatever. Follow us on all of our our Instagram, our TikTok. That's our YouTube, I guess. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And man, just thank y'all so much from each of us, the 4 of us, from the bottom of our hearts. We can't thank y'all enough.
Yeah, thank you
For
so
the
much.
support with the episodes and just being patient with us. Because
Wyatt keeps apologizing because he feels bad.
I do.
Because he put it out there and then we didn't hit the mark.
I
But
do, yeah.
But it was really
we're gonna
Alan who
keep
was
hitting
gone
the
Well,
mark.
look,
all
look, we're
last
gonna
week.
try to do it weekly, okay? We're gonna do it weekly, all right. But yeah, I do apologize for that, and
But we're not
yeah.
going to keep apologizing every week. We're
No,
going to just roll,
yeah,
all right?
this is it. But yeah, this
And
is
we're
it.
not, we love it. This is what we're wanting to do. And I think what we'll do next week, where there's one more thing in Judges 6, we'll hit.
Yeah.
And then we'll jump on. So if you wanted to read ahead, if you keep going in chapter 6, it's about this time where Gideon has to kind of clean up some stuff in his own backyard. And we'll kind of talk a little bit about that and kind of see where that takes us next. But until then, adios. It was good nighting.
Hey, if you're struggling, just know we're all struggling. I'll catch you around.
All right.
See
Bye,
you,
guys.
sinners.